Welcome to the Redvee TV Show, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2024 season. We've got the tops on again, Kev. Car Swap is back this weekend. Get yourself down to Chapel House St Helens, where they will look after you and get you the car of your dreams.
You will. You look very fetching in red there, David. Suits you.
It's not rubbing off. Just because I've been there this weekend to the St Helens Stadium. That is a really good segue, Kev, because that is where we're going to start this week's show. I put playoff start now. They'll start after this. It kills me a little bit. It really does. And I say this, as everyone knows, I am a massive, massive Evertonian. Liverpool Women playing at Saints as our tenants, Saints as the landlords. But do you know what? It's really good deal for the club. That's all you can say about it. It's a coup for the club, given that we made losses of 1.3 million last year. We've got to diversify our revenue streams. And when you've got a playing surface empty 300 days a year, why not? Not only have we got Liverpool signed on for the next 10 years, we've got a world-class playing surface that is going to be looked after, and you've got revenue coming into the club regularly. And the exposure the stadium gets in the Women's Football Super League, which is only going to skyrocket and expand over the next few years. As much as I'd love to complain, and I like complaining about things, on this one, I really, really can't.
I think we had a call before we started filming. We were on the phone, weren't we? And you mentioned how the women's football is going to just take off and take off and take off, and it's just going to build and build. You actually mentioned, could we see a time where Liverpool Women's are actually bringing more in than St Helens are fan-wise? You know, it's just on that trajectory, whether people like it or not. The football is the biggest sport in the world. It's absolutely huge. Women's football used to be massive back in the day, really did. And it's just going to go on that trajectory and get back up to being one of the biggest spectator sports. And for the prices that you pay for going watching the women's game, it's a cheap, affordable, easy to get to for Liverpool fans, football fans in St Helens. Yeah, I get that people won't like seeing it, and I get that you don't like seeing Liverpool logos and emblems round, but at least you get it that this will help our club. It's our stadium. It will help our club.
Do you know what? It's not going to affect me because...
No. Well, yeah.
Did I like seeing it on Sunday? But do you know why I saw it on Sunday? Because I was there sat in the away end supporting Everton Women. I took the kids, really enjoyed the afternoon. It's a chance for the many Liverpool fans in St Helens who've never been to Anfield, never will get near Anfield, to feel a little bit closer to the club that they claim to support. Come on, you've got to give me something, Kevin.
I was trying to keep a straight face and I just couldn't.
Give me something. But you know what? The only time I'm ever going to see that branding all over the stadium is if Everton play there again against them and I go again. League Cup in December. Already marked it in the calendar.
You mentioned that have they not moved that to Anfield?
No, they've moved 3 Premier League games to Anfield, but Everton have drawn them in the League Cup in the group draw. So that's going to be, I think it's a Wednesday night in December.
Fair enough.
So it's all right doing a pre-season friendly, but can they do it on a wet Wednesday night in December? But you know what? It was actually really impressive to see. Obviously, the finance in football is unreal. I've never seen as many staff swarming the stadium in my life. Couple of big celebrities there as well. Also had a picture with Natasha Jonas and Ella, someone who's a TikTok influencer, I'm told, does makeup. Don't know. They were recognised, but and have photos. But yeah, do you know what? It was really good. I was really impressed to see how Liverpool had actually made the stadium like a home ground for them. Obviously, you've seen all the branding inside the stadium. Outside, they had a fan zone, something that they've managed within 2 hours of being there, and Saints haven't managed in 12 years. Take note, Mr. Rush and staff. And that's, yeah, it was just really good. As,
This is this has been a wonderful couple of minutes listening to you praise Liverpool Football Club, and I'm not even a Liverpool fan. Everybody will know that I'm Burnley. So to me, it doesn't matter to me if there's money coming into the club. If this was, we'll switch it for me. If this was Blackburn and they were coming into the club and putting the money in, it doesn't matter. All it means to me is our club is in the best possible position it can be financially. It can be the pitch, as you say, is going to be looked after by the Liverpool staff as well as our own. It just all adds up, and Saints should hopefully be looking at keeping this partnership going, and as you say, diversifying, adding to it, whatever they can do to get more money in the club, to get the stadium use, because that was a big thing that was mentioned when we were at Knowsley Road, how the stadium wasn't used 360 odd days a year. Perfect for us. People might not like the branding because of the football team. Get over it. You don't have to go watching them.
You don't have to like the branding. I don't like the branding, but it's irrelevant. But do you know what? It's something that the club should hopefully try and expand on a little bit as well. You never know. You might end up with Liverpool reserves coming, playing their games here at some point in the future as well. But their season kicks off this weekend. The women, Liverpool women, their first game. And it's a big weekend for women's sport as well, because the ground staff are going to be working overtime. They're going to have Liverpool women playing Leicester City at 2 p.m. And then in the evening, it's what we're here for. Saints women will take on the Wigan Warriors in the first Betfred Super League women's semi-final. It's free for 2024 members, and hopefully we'll get a really big crowd and we can roar the women on to the grand final, where they'll hope to complete a clean sweep of the trophies in 2024. Looking forward to this one, Kev.
Yeah, promises to be a good game. Obviously, Dennis Betts has taken over as Warriors head coach this season, and he's properly getting a tune out of his players as well. Saints will probably go in as favourites, obviously Leaders' Shield winners, but they're always tasty, these games, aren't they? There's always that little bit of bite, that little bit of rivalry. So fingers crossed we can just go out there, be professional, and turn Wigan over and get to a grand final.
And Saints women haven't lost at home to Wigan in over 6 years.
I don't like stats like that.
Let me just check. That might be a stat. I don't know if that's home and away. I actually read the stat a little bit earlier on, and I was quite amazed by it. It just shows how dominant Saints women's team have been during that time.
And that, while you look at that, I'll just mention that obviously today the nominees for a couple of awards have come out in the women's game. Faye Gaskin has been nominated as Woman of Steel. And after she has come back, very good, after she's come back from her injury, it's just reward for her to be named in the final three. Fingers crossed she can actually take home that prize, because it is her last season as well. Yeah, she's been great for the club, absolutely fantastic, and I'm glad that she's going out on a good season as well. And also, as you see on the graphic, Matty Smith up for Coach of the Year. Again, testament to him that he's come in as women's coach and led them to top spot in the table. A wonderful achievement, and really proud of them both.
Yeah, just to prove I can multitask, I was listening to you and not finding the answer to that question at the same time. Right, moving on to our biggest game of the week. The playoffs really start now for us, don't they? It's going to decide whether we actually play at home next week or whether we'll face a trip to Warrington. Most likely, assuming that Hull KR do their job on Friday night. And it's about as strong as a squad we're going to get, apart from Curtis.
Yeah, I think at the moment it is. T. Ritson's dropped out of that squad for Moses and Bai, who comes back in. Yeah, with Jake Wingfield and Connie Hurrell just both not going to be fit this season, I think has been the latest one for both of them. That is, with the exception of Curtis Sirenen, who is penciled in for next week. That's as good as we're going to get, I think.
We spoke last week whether Wello would have the balls to drop Wonga Blake. He made the right call. I think it showed in the performance on Friday night that the back line looked good. And is it pretty much a case of same again this week?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously your question mark is whether Moses comes in. A lot of that is based on, well, us said in his press conference that he's still got some knocks and some little bits of injury that are hanging about. So it's whether you risk him or you leave him out for another week, because Jake Burns is doing well enough to start this game. He really is doing well enough to start this game. I don't think he will. I think it'll be Darrell Clark. But he's stepped up and given you that option. So the only question mark is Moses fit enough for that role off the bench? And if he's not, doesn't matter. We've got Jake Burns.
Yeah, especially if you're only expecting him to come on and do 10 or 15 minutes anyway in relief of Darrell Clark. You could probably you don't need to risk him at all.
No, because you need the big game players really from next week onwards. You need them to be hitting the straps and being involved and round. And that's nothing against Jake Burns, but this is Jake Burns. This is his first season, really, isn't it? In the first being involved in match days and starting games. So you want him definitely fit next week. If it means leaving him out because you're just going to play for 20 minutes this week, I'd leave him out.
Huge game for Saints. Even bigger for Leigh, given a loss for them would probably likely see them miss out on the playoffs should Catalan do the business and beat Hull FC, which, listen, me and you could probably play and have a fair crack at that.
Yeah, it is. And that's what makes it as intriguing as it's ever been, that Leigh can't put the cue on the rack, and Leigh can't kind of rest players. They can't go into that thing of being able to rest players. They've got to try and do exactly what they did to us last time we were at their place. Professional, clinical, and just absolutely go for it so the game's won. The
irony that Leigh may be depending on Hull FC for a result.
Yeah, true.
I'm not entirely sure they'll be prepared for doing any favours to Mr. Beaumont, given his comments over the last few days. I'm just trying to look now. Yes, so 46-6 last time we played Leigh at their place. Would it be sweet, sweet revenge for Saints to win and end the Leopard season?
Yeah, with all due respect, I don't care about Leigh and how their season ends. If we've got the win, and that's I'm trying not to be disrespectful. I just don't. I'm bothered about Saints.
No, absolutely, and we come first, but it shows how the rivalry is developed, which is what we need in the sport.
We do need that in sport, yeah.
there would be a bit of satisfaction in ending Leeds season prematurely. Leeds season ended about 12 weeks ago.
Yeah, I get that. I think personally, as I say, I'm more bothered about us getting the win to finish fourth and get that home game.
But you get both. You get the double whammy.
You do get the double whammy.
I just think we were humiliated when we went there.
Yeah.
Leigh were absolutely fantastic, and they played us off the park. And you know what?
You're probably looking more at the players then who are thinking we've got to change what happened last time, because last time it looked like there were a handful of players who were doing the business, and everybody else just didn't have a clue. It was horrific. In fact, that was the game that I actually give Blake a 1 in my rating.
One too many. And do you know what? Listen, ending Leigh's season as well, it's one less dangerous team in the playoffs, because I think Catalan are probably easier beats this year. Leigh in the playoffs would fancy themselves wherever they go at putting up a performance. So to get one potential dangerous opponent out the way would benefit everyone. What do you think about Salford resting everyone this week? I think they absolutely have the right to do it. And if it was us in that position, I'd be calling for us to do exactly the same.
I think the RFL asking for the views or whatever they've said on the squad that they've named. Well, hang on a minute. The game's been moved for Sky, so they've got 1 day less to prepare. So you're looking at player welfare, are we? Is that what we're looking at? The person who is ultimately responsible for that squad is the head coach. If the head coach feels that the 21 he has named is the best 21 at the club to go to Wigan as it is and play, then that is entirely up to him. This is one hill I will absolutely die on, that a club should be able to name whatever 21-man squad they want. If they want to pick Terry the T-Man to play 6, and whoever the mascot is still in full suit to play 7, that's up to them.
Yeah.
Really think that I will back Salford 100% on this.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if Salford's ultimate aim this season is to try and win the grand final, and they feel that this is the best way of going about it this week, where, do you know what? They could, if Saints don't win, they'll finish 4th anyway.
Yeah.
If they finish 5th, well, they've beat us at Saints this season already. What would they rather do? Play a full-strength team against Wigan this week, potentially come away with a loss, a couple of injuries and a couple of bans, or give everyone the week off, potentially finish 4th anyway, and have everyone fit and ready to go next week. While equally, Saints could end up with injuries, bans, Leigh and Saints knocking 7 bells out of each other with a day less to prepare. It's an absolute no-brainer. And listen, the only reason we have to do these 21-man squads in the first place is so that the bookies don't get bashed when a weakened side potentially turns up with no notice, as we did and brought this rule about. So the bookies won't get bashed. Everyone knows before they turn up. Salford fans can decide whether they want to spend their hard-earned money to go and watch their reserves playing. Wigan fans won't be bothered because they can potentially rest a couple of their own, and they'll win the League Leaders Shield at a canter. Hull KR can't moan because they did similar before the cup final last season. That is life. That is sport. The end.
I think the biggest travesty of all this is the game being moved to a Thursday night.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest one. Get that sport can end up with fixtures being changed, but shouldn't it be the peril of everyone plays at the same time? And again, we'll look at that. The RFL might talk about player welfare. You're not telling me that it's play well for shortening turnaround times. You're not telling me that's good enough. If Paul Rowley goes walking into the RFL and go, well, my observations on the squad are the game's been moved. I'm looking after the minutes that my squad are playing because we've potentially got a big couple of weeks coming up. We just need to win our last 3 games after this one. So you win your last 3 games and we win Super League, and then I'll be vindicated. He doesn't need to be vindicated. He's done absolutely the right thing.
Why am I going to play my full squad and risk everyone just to get a game home advantage where we probably don't really care? Because
and as you say, they've beaten us at Saints already this year. I know we can point to the Mark Percival sending off with that, but they won't care. They'll just be looking to play their game, and good luck to them in playing all the kids and all the reserve players. Up to them what they do.
Leigh squad, Kev?
No changes, but they expect to have Edwin Ipape available after he missed the game. I don't know if he's missed a couple with a shoulder injury, but he missed the Hull KR game. They'll be looking to put that right, and Edwin Ipape, if he's going to play, he will start, I would imagine, according to Adrian Lamb anyway.
We know what we're going to get from Leigh. Really tough, hard game. Like last time, we know what we're going to face. Saints will have to be at their best to get a result. And therefore, Kevin, I'm going to ask you for a prediction.
If we keep the penalties down, nothing to do with the referee, by the way, when people start putting that all over social media. Nothing to do with refs. If we look after our own discipline, don't let the referee make a decision, we can win this game.
Unfortunately, we've not done that all season, so what's your prediction?
Yeah, exactly. We keep our discipline, Saints by 6. We don't, Leigh by 18.
So our discipline is a 24-point swing. I'm going to go for Saints by 8, purely because it's on. We're going to win the grand final.
Speaking of grand finals,
the Academy.
Yeah, the Academy play on Wednesday, the 25th of September, 7:30 kickoff at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Free for members, £5 for non-members, £3 for concessions, £2 for under-16s. It's against Wigan. We're both playing lads who have played Super League in this grand final, I would imagine. We'll see the likes of Harry Robertson and Jack Farrimond playing there in their respective teams, I would have thought. Get down there and support the young lads.
And that is us done and dusted. We will be back for the instant reaction. We'll do a retake. We didn't have the mic properly at Leigh last time, did we? Didn't it break there?
Probably go wrong again.
And if we
just go
beat,
sit in the pub.
Yeah, if we get beaten, we'll plug it in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll catch you Friday night at Leigh. Catch you soon.